I think what I try to do as every filmmaker and artist, I'm trying to bring the compelling story, comprehensive story, complete story that can explain, first of all, explain the puzzle of the crisis, of the refugee crisis in the world, because some crises like this we haven't seen since Second World War. And to explain that these people are exactly like us, they're just having struggle, they're facing right now. And I think in order that people will understand this, you need to bring a comprehensive, complete story versus the small news segments that not bring in all this. And for example, for me, who've been in a year of filming Winter on Fire and observing some events, even I saw bits and pieces. And for me, it was important to, since 2015, when a lot of media and news started to kind of follow the events in Europe, refugee crisis and everything, I wanted to know why it's happening. I wanted to tell to the world what brought to these events. So I think that's the important element of me as the filmmaker who can bring complete story versus the small news.
We will be back to 2011 when we first started. At that time, we had a dream that we're going to change the situation in Syria. We had a dictatorship, and then we were aspiring that we're going to bring in democracy and change. And we're going to have our freedoms back, like freedom of press, of expression, and at least the very basic human rights. But to the contrary to our aspirations, we had a big dream. Everything turned against us. First, starting from the government, it was so brutal against us. They started to kill the protesters in the street, the freedom callers, and then they started to detain them and put them in jail. And large numbers of them were killed under torture. And then they started to shell cities which were against the regime. And these people were forced to be IDPs. And then they were displaced. And then the stories started to come, like they become later on refugees. And then the word spread like atrocities and all the killings and the bloodshed.
These people are exactly like us. The rebels that became a negative connotation in the press, they're the simple people who been demonstrating, like today people were demonstrating, they've been demonstrating from the beginning of revolution. Then to protect their families against the barbarous regime, they took weapon. They were forced to take weapon in their hands because this was the only way to protect their beloved ones, their kids, their mothers, their wives. And then they called the rebels, they called terrorists. That's wrong. It's wrong connotation. It's wrong connotation because the Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, Christians, they're all people, they're all human beings. So we all need to learn from that. We all need to respect people. We all need to learn how, for example, ISIS happened, and there is nothing to do with the Syrians specifically because they are struggling more than even us struggling in the United States with the ISIS. So people need to come from the perspective of the ignorance that coming again from the darkness and not knowing the proper information to the positive side, start to respect strangers that coming from Syria because they're struggling and looking for the shelter.
Every now and then I lose hope, but there is faith that we started. I can't let people down. We can't. I mean, we reached the point that we simply can't stop. I mean, for the sake of the refugees now, in the diaspora, and for the detainees, the people who are in prison. I mean, if we stop, we are letting them down.